sorry. I read part of it.
Oh.
All right, so we are live. And yeah, so I'm very excited to chat with a very, very interesting lady today. She's got a lot going on. And let's see, let's just make sure that we are live. Okay, it says we are live. So, all right, so aloha and welcome everyone. I'm Michelle Sorensen, the Tea Goddess, and I'm the owner of Tea at 1024 in downtown Honolulu. I've been serving afternoon tea with love and passion since 1999. And my desire with this weekly Tea Chat series is that you find it informative, educational, and entertaining. And I strive to bring you tea experts, tea business owners, and tea enthusiasts from around the world. And my next guest is from Los Angeles, California. She said there's a heat wave going on over there. But what started out as a hobby over 10 years ago has turned into a business called the Little Teacup. She creates magical tea parties and special events in people's homes. She's a costume designer for film and television, an animal activist, and author. So aloha and welcome, Sandy.
Aloha.
How do you pronounce your name?
Nice to meet you, Michelle.
Yes, nice to meet you. That's what I love about this. You know, what I've been doing.
I'm sorry?
I said, what I love about what I'm doing right now is that I get to meet new people, and they become strangers, become friends. So very exciting.
Yes, I mean, I've tried to watch most of your chats. I'm still catching up, but I really enjoyed the ones. Yes.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much. Well, let's talk a little bit about your business, the Little Teacup, and all the magic that you bring to people in their homes. Oh, can you hear me?
Having a little hard time hearing you, but I think I heard about how I go about going into people's homes. Or it's just you know, I think it's these days, I think that a lot of first it started just for children, and then actually it all started out with doing a baby shower, and then people said, oh, you should really do this. And I thought it'd be fun to just do tea parties for kids. It's something different, because a lot of times they go and they rent out these big venues and it becomes so big. But I think that in people's homes, it could be even more fun, and we can do activities later on. And people have really responded to it, because they don't have to go and rent the venue, that they can do, you know, other fun things. So, and children get very well behaved, have fine china. They surprisingly never break things. And so that was my concept, to do it in the comfort of people's homes. And it's not just for kids, it's also baby showers, wedding showers, dog birthday parties, a lot of different things. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I see the photos that oops. Oh, I get some feedback there. But yeah, the photos that you sent to me are really super cute. It looks like, this looks like some event that you had done here outside. And this is another one.
Yeah, little fairies. I have a thing for fairies. It started a while back when I went to the Huntington Gardens in Pasadena, and I started collecting little fairies. So I thought, well, that would be kind of cute to add into my presentation and to make it really festive. And it does create a special magical atmosphere, sort of like my enchanted garden thing going on.
I love fairies. I am a fairy fan too. So I just, yeah, I have a lot of broken teacups and teapots and things over the years. And then I take them and I recreate them, and I put little fairies in it and, you know, stuff. And your garden, I saw, and also you do your garden. And you know what, I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and it's the Sheltie doll.
Selfie doll. I have several. I know it's crazy. I started out with just one Instagram page because I love nature. So I just started photographing things in my garden, my flowers, and then some nature things, gardens or trees on my walks. And so that Instagram is just a hobby. It's not for me. I don't put any of my pictures in there. It's just nature. I love birds. I love lizards. I love anything that's in the garden because you never know what's going to happen in a garden. And
Yeah.
and then I did one from my book. I did one for from my Sandy and Sandy, A Tale of Love. I just started these recently when you know, when we're off of work because of the COVID-19. So all of a sudden, I found myself with more time in my hands that I normally would have had, even though in my business, like everybody else, like actors, sometimes you work, sometimes you don't, sometimes you have a lot of time in between. So I figured, okay, what else can I do? Although I'm already doing a lot, as you mentioned, with the animal activists and all of that, you know, adoption fairs and things like that. But I thought, okay, I want to continue. So I restarted and I just started my Instagram page for the little teacup just a couple months ago. And I started, you know, experimenting with new recipes and new decorations. So a lot of the props that you see there, like, I don't know if I sent you the one for the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. I did that costume myself out of cardboard and 3D stickers. So,
Yeah.
you know, I made my own props. I just had the White Rabbit. One day I thought it's so cute. I should just get it at a gift shop. And it was on sale. I said, okay. And then I decided, oh, that would be perfect for my Alice in Wonderland theme. So I dressed it up and I made his little outfit out of cardboard and garter belt for the collar. And then I even do my own signs. So when people visit my website, they'll be able to see I have 3 themes going, but I can do all kinds of things. I've done Halloween parties. I did a Halloween for dog party. I'm not kidding. They came in costume. I mean, I have some photos, but it's like it's a work in progress. So, you know, it's I'm always trying to experiment, and this is the thing that I love about it the most. Now that I do have some time, you know, I like to see, you know, I'll go to the craft store and see what ribbons or what things I can get. Something just has to catch my eye. It's almost like a scavenger hunt. And then that whole thing will set off a theme and inspires you. So that's kind of how I go about it.
You're very creative. I love looking at your pictures on your
Thank
Instagram.
you, Michelle. And so are you. I love your tea house. I did a whole tour of it. I looked at all your photos. Now I just have to catch up with all of the chats. I did enjoy Royal Helen from Royal Tea House. And now, you know, I followed her. Now she's following me. And I love what she did on her patio. I just love it. And
Yeah.
a couple of the people that you follow, I'm following now. And I really, I'm learning a lot. I think it's such a great idea what you're doing because you've had people from Hawaii, you've had people from New York, you've had, you know, I also enjoyed the man. He's the first guy that you ever had. He was
From
great
England.
because I really learned a lot. And it, you know, was al fresco. That's kind of how I wanted to do my thing in my garden. But like I said, it was just too hot. It didn't happen today. So.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I've been enjoying doing these series, and I get to know people, and you know, just reach out, and a stranger becomes a friend, and then we start following each other and seeing each other what we're doing, you know, in our businesses all across the world. So
Right.
yeah.
And your
So
tea house is so beautiful. It's just, I just love it. I wish I could go there, you know, that it would, everything is closed here. I mean, LA, things are still, they reopened and now they're closed again. And I know that the Huntington opened, but not the tea room. They just opened the gardens or something like that. And past, I don't know if you've ever been. Have you been to California to the Huntington Library? And
No, not there. So they serve afternoon tea there?
They have a beautiful rose garden. It's like an English rose garden, and the building itself, it has like French windows, and it's very light and airy. And I haven't been there in years, but I mean, it's still there, but it's closed right now. They're not serving tea. So that's a thing to do if you ever do come to California. That's a place. I'll take you there personally.
Okay, that would be lovely. Is it far for you to drive to near Carmel? Oh,
It's far.
Monterey?
I love North. That's like one of my favorite places in,
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
California.
that's right. That's more near some.
It's about maybe like a 7
Okay.
hour drive, but it's a beautiful drive if you go down Pacific Coast Highway. And it's gorgeous. Yeah, I've been to little tea places there years ago in Carmel and San Francisco, in the wine country. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
But it is very
Well,
far.
well, Pasadena is not too far.
No,
You can take
no, it's about an
Pasadena.
hour drive, depending on the traffic. You know, it's about an hour drive.
Well, there's
LA, an hour is not far.
the Rose Tree Tea Garden. Have you been there?
I've been there. I've been there a long, long time ago. Yes. It's
I
a little cottage. Yes.
hope to interview them. I had tea there, oh, I don't know, 3 years ago, I think it was. And it was just happened around the Queen's birthday. And they actually booked, but I told them, I said, I have a tea room in Hawaii and I'm here for a couple of days and this is the only day. And so they fit me in. And they're
wonderful.
people. They're just,
yeah.
And we've been doing it for so many years.
I know. Congratulations. That's really hard to keep a business for so long, you know, especially in these days. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. So what is one of your favorite tea parties that you created?
Well, I think really the fairy garden, the ones that where I use fairies in the decorations, because then I have packages. So depending on what people want, most of the time they want the full thing, which is when I include the children's activities. I mean, the fairy garden can be for anybody, but it's called the Midsummer's Daydream. But it can be for anybody, not just for children. But for me, the fun part is with the kids because we can do fairy hunts, or we do face painting, or we do some kind of like cupcake decorating activity that will look like an enchanted cupcake, or storytelling. So that's the fun part for me, you know, when you start interacting with the kids and then they get all excited and it's amazing what they come up with, you know? So.
And do you dress up when you do it?
Well, if they request they dress up, I will do it. I have a couple of costumes that I've made that are fairy-like, and I would wear like a multicolor, like strands of, pink, or maybe not a full wig, but something that'll make it look fantastical, and maybe put butterflies in my hair, or maybe a wreath around my head. So it depending on the location, how their house is set up, or if they have a garden, or what we can do with it. It's all always about improvising for me. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm always like, okay, let's just do it. Let's see what happens.
Your costume designing for television, I'm sure, definitely helps you kind of create this theatrical, magical experience for people.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So what is that like? Are you
just
designing for the film and television?
Well, right now we're all the studios basically are shut down because I'm a union member. So they're shut down right now. They're trying to set up like a safety meetings before we got back. We got like a 10-page memorandum of what's going to happen, how it's going to change. There will, one of my, it's terrible to say this, but one of my favorite things about working at the studios is the lunches. We get the wonderful craft service and the catered lunches and the catered dinners. And these are like fantastic chefs. So, but it's not going to be like that anymore. Now it's going to be like boxed lunches or boxed dinners. and you can't sit close to somebody. So, and even inside the studio, you know, it's going to change dramatically because you won't be able to get that close to the actors to pin them or to fit them or to hand over their costumes. There's a thing about we're going to have to bring our own pins or buy new pins that haven't been touched by somebody else. So I know that OSHA is involved in this. So we'll probably have to do another complete safety training, which we actually do every year. Every 2 years, we have to update our safety training in everything, whether it's, because we work with so many people on the crew. It's not just the actors. You work with people who are the camera people, the prop people, the gaffers, that, you know, they're all using special equipment and sometimes the liquids that are flammable. So all of this is going to change dramatically. So right now, I'm enjoying my time off. And like I said, I adopted a new rescue doggie 3 months ago. He's special needs, but he's a very, very sweet. He's very happy here. And I renamed him Mr. Darcy from
Mr.
Pride and
Darcy.
Prejudice. Mr. Darcy.
Before we
He's
get on that, pardon?
Yeah, I named him after the Pride and Prejudice. He's a little Pomeranian mix.
But before we move, I want to talk about that. But before we do, and we're talking about the television, very interesting because we have, you know, Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI filmed here.
I know.
I've been on the set a couple times because I was like an extra, and yeah, the food is amazing. But it's long, and it's, you know, and I was like, nah. When you were talking about all of this, you know, like distancing thing, how are they going to do love scenes?
You know, I think
there are going to be no love scenes.
No, I think they're going to have to rewrite the script. Maybe I'll go back to Victorian times where you're going to write love notes instead. Maybe it'll become more romantic where you send love notes. I have no idea, but that's why we haven't gone back to work, because they're trying to figure out. First, we thought it's maybe gonna be a month off, a couple weeks off, then a month off. And then we keep on getting memos that, no, we can't go back to work yet. I mean, I know that some non-union, but we're union. So that's because they're responsible. Something happens, they have to be, you know, they can't afford to have people get sick on the set. So it's, you know, I really don't know. It's so unpredictable. And even this with the Tea Party right now, obviously things are on hold, you know. So what I'm doing, especially we do things with children. So what I'm doing, I'm just, you know, like I said, I just started my Instagram on this page, the little teacup, even though I had the website for 10 years, you know, I'm experimenting with recipes and decorations, and I'm just going to keep on doing that so that when the time comes where it says it's okay to do this, then I'll be, you know, have more things to offer.
Right. I think if you went about it right now and let people know that you're still available, that because there are, you know, people that, you know, want to have the birthday parties for their children and they just kind of don't know what to do.
Right.
And, so what is in California, what is like the maximum number of people in an event that you can have right now?
Right now, it changes. At one point, there was like 4, then like 6, then it went up to 10, but family or people that are together. Now people got sick after the Memorial Weekend celebration. People were swimming and going to the beach and having barbecues, and a lot of people got sick. So now, I don't know. I think for the 4th of July, you know, all the fireworks, except for in a couple places, got shut down, which is good because animals don't like fireworks. They get terrified. You know, they just do it at a park where it's authorized, but people were doing it without illegal. Some houses got burned down because people did it the wrong way in the wrong area. It's terrible. But Governor Newsom said, you know, try to restrict it to 4 people, family members that you usually, you know, mix with. So I've been seeing my mom and my brother, and that's it. I have a husband and I have a dog, and that's about it, you know. My cousin didn't come. We were going to have a 4th of July little swim thing, and she wasn't feeling great. So not related to COVID, but I said, you don't feel great. And she said, no, I don't want to come. I don't want to get anybody. So that happened. So right now it's probably about 4 people. I don't know. But what I could do if somebody was interested, I could, you know, depending on what package they wanted, I could even bring the food. I would have it done right now in commercial kitchen. That's what I would do, and farm it out. You know, if I wanted to bake something, I'll bring in my molds. I'll tell them what colors to use. I'll bring, you know, what sprinkles to use. I'll design the whole cake or the sandwich or whatever. Have them make it, bring it in a box. And then if they want decorations, maybe I can come in for a couple of hours when everybody's outside of the house in their garden or something, and I can set it up and then leave and then pick it up the next day or something. But there are ways of doing it. But right now, basically things are kind of on hold. So I'm just gonna keep on moving along. And I'm very patient. I found out that I'm very patient when I adopted my first dog, Sandy the Sheltie. And because she had behavioral issues, people said, oh my God, most people would have just returned her to the shelter. But I said, no, I committed. I made a promise to a dying person that I'm going to adopt his dog, and my husband and I. And that's changed my world completely. That's what started everything for me with helping animals. So
that was one of the things that right here, there.
Yes.
So that, because I read a little bit of your book, and
Yes.
I love
you.
that the proceeds of the book went to help with the animal shelter.
Yes.
And there's one part of the book that really kind of just struck me, and it was the part you said that when she barked and she barked and she barked and she ran quickly inside to where her toys were, and she sat in that spot.
Oh
yeah. And she was afraid of you. And I think with rescue dogs, because my daughter just got a rescue dog, the cutest, oh my gosh, well-behaved little dog. She's part poodle and part, that other cute little mix. And there were some issues that she had to go through as far as trust issues. And that's what you talk about in your book. Yes. And those that are watching and, you know, are listening, you wrote this book, and it was a promise to your brother's cousin that was dying.
My husband's cousin died suddenly of skin cancer. And I mean, he went in 3 months from the diagnosis. They said that he would have a year to live, and he declined so quickly that we barely had time to even arrange his funeral. You know, it was like very shocking. At first I really didn't believe my husband that he was gonna die, that Barton, the cousin, was going to die. He was a surfer, blonde, blue eyes surfer, spent his whole life in the surfing in the sun, and he developed melanoma, and from, you know, in 3 months he was gone. And this dog her name was also Sandy by coincidence. And so I kept her name. That's why I put Sandy and Sandy, a tale of love, because we really bonded. I mean, she was terrified. And the fact that this dog had never been socialized, she had literally every behavioral problem in the book, including aggression. And so I worked around her. It took years to really deal. And then people started saying, oh my God, you're so patient. And I said, yes, I guess I am. You know, I didn't know. Sometimes people reflect. They tell you things about yourself that you really don't notice until they actually tell you. So I said, yeah, I basically only have patience for animals, and that's about it.
That is beautiful. And, you know, the shelter. So you said there were, so you have a new dog.
Well, yeah, then Sandy, you know, she lived to be 12 and a half, and she passed away from cancer. And then after that, we were so devastated. You know, it just like came on suddenly. Actually, she died 3 months after we knew she had cancer, but thank God we had her that long even after. Then we adopted baby Maggie, a little baby Sheltie. Also, she was a rehoming situation where the elderly couple had the mom and the dad, and then they had one litter. I don't think they should have, but they did. And so they wanted to keep the mother and the father and the two babies, Maggie and her little brother, twin brother. But then they had to go to a nursing facility. So I think the lady developed a stroke or something, and it changed their dynamic. So what they did, their grown children kept the elderly dogs, the couple, the mother and the father, because those are harder to adopt out, especially if they're bonded couple. You don't want to break them up. And the babies got adopted immediately. It was just one, a little brother, he got adopted first. And then I adopted Maggie. And she was 9 weeks, 3 pounds. I always say you were a 9-weeker, 3-pounder. Literally, she was like a cyclone of destruction. This little doggy had so much puppy energy. She never slept. I never slept for 8 years. You know? And then she passed away, unfortunately, as a result of the Wolseley fire 2 years ago. She, with the smoke inhalation, and she became extremely agitated. She had internal bleeding from adrenal glands. So we spent, it was very devastating. We spent 2 days and 2 nights sleeping in the ER lobby. We never left. And we did a very extremely expensive surgery to try to save her, because I don't have human kids. And if I had had human kids, you do whatever you can. That was my child. Sadly, the following day after the surgery in the morning, she passed away. But we got to see her 5 minutes before she died. So I think the doctor was already warning us that even if she did survive, it wasn't going to be good. And then, you know, but she did see us. She opened her eyes and she saw us, and then she just went to sleep. But we were so devastated that we literally grieved like for 1.5 years. We stayed at my mom's house for 2 weeks during the evacuation, and we really didn't want to come home. And our thought is, we really wish that our house had burned down instead of our dog, and have our dog. We wish that we had Maggie, that could have exchanged her life for our home, but obviously life is weird. And so after 1.5 years, we were, you know, when you start to adjust, busy, you do things, you're sad all the time, even though go on. I mean, you can still find joy in everyday life, even though you're internally sad with grieving. And then we decided, you know, during the pandemic, people were saying, oh, there's so many animals now that are going to be released from the shelter. They have no place to go. People like turning them in. This is a good time to foster, to adopt. So I started looking on Pet Finder. And then originally I wanted a Sheltie because I love them so much. They have such incredible personalities, sheepdogs. They're very bossy, by the way, but I love that about them. Very smart, very alert. But I found this picture, and I couldn't find any in California. And obviously, they're not going to transport. None of the rescues had them at the moment. So I saw the picture of this little boy, and I wanted a girl. But I saw his picture, and I said, oh, my God, there's something about him that reminds me a little bit of Maggie. Maybe the ears, the fuzziness, the puffball. And so I contacted this lady from the rescue who has a rescue. And this is the most, so I said I'd like to meet, and we met at a park. And 2 weeks later, she would have to make arrangements with the papers and the vet records. But this is the most interesting thing about who I adopted from. Okay, her name was Libra. And she said, I said, Libra. I said, well, I'm a Libra. That's a very unusual name. So she, on the phone, so she said, well, my parents were hippies. So I just left it at that. But then when she came here to drop off the doggy, finally, after back and forth and making arrangements, making the house dog friendly and everything, it turned out that she's Peter Max's daughter, the legendary, iconic, psychedelic pop artist. Yeah. I said, you're kidding me. She says, no, because she came here and I have some paintings on the wall. So she said, who's the artist? I said, well, I don't know if I'm an artist, but I like to paint. Right, and I said, oh, you remember? I said, I remember that you told me that you're in the family art business. Are you like an art dealer? Is your family? He says, no, actually, my dad is a painter. And I said, oh, really? Well, what's his name? She says, Peter Max. And I said, what? The Peter Max? She says, yeah. I said, my God, I thought you said your parents were hippies. So they were, so that's the story. And we've kept in touch like almost every week. We text, we call. She flies back and forth to New York, which is why she fostered him for a whole year. And the most interesting story about this doggy is that he belonged originally to a homeless teenage couple that rescued him from puppyhood, and they bottle fed him. So it's like, and she stayed in their life all those years, helped them out. And then, she had him for years fostered, but with the flying back and forth to New York, and he didn't really have the attention that, she did, of course, did wonderful things for him, but I have more time to give the attention that he needs. And she has other pets. So he'll hear he's the king. He's above my husband, above my mom, I already made it very clear he's number one. So that's it.
We don't have the time we could have during COVID had time for a dog, but I do like my her rescue dog. She's the cutest. Oh my God, so cute. She does spend the night over when my grandsons come over, and she's potty trained, which is like super cute.
Yeah.
And, that's
they
beautiful.
Add so much. What I say, Michelle, about him? He's my little cup of comfort. That's what I say. And I'm gonna take a little toast to him.
Yes. Oh,
by the way, I'm drinking room temperature jasmine tea because it's too hot to drink tea. So I just let it go room temperature, and it's very aromatic, very calming. So it's delicious.
I have a hippie tea today. It has thistle. It has, what does it have in there? No, hawthorn, not thistle. The design is thistle, but it also has patchouli. So
really? That is totally hippie.
It has this. I like patchouli. I like the smell of patchouli. So it has.
But I've never had it in a drink. I didn't even know that they made patchouli tea.
Yeah, this one, the company. I bought it when we were traveling, and the company's called Wonder Tea. It's from France, but it's a beautiful tea. And I used cloth bags, but they used cloth bags instead of plastic bags, which are really good.
Much better. Yes.
I normally drink loose tea, but this particular one comes in a tea bag form only. It's a really nice, very relaxing tea.
I know.
Segue. So we went from your tea business to.
I know we're all over the place. That's why I said you have to lead me because I'm all over the place.
No, that's good. You've got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure during COVID has definitely been helping you to stay active and right. But let's talk.
You know what?
What was that?
No, I said go back to work so I can have vacation. To me, sometimes working is a vacation because you feel like when you're with cast and crew and on occasion, it feels like almost like you're camping, So it almost feels like you're not working and you're getting fed and you're getting paid for all this excitement, but it's a job, so.
In Hawaii, what they're doing is Magnum PI is going to go back on set.
Oh,
yeah, and in August, one of the girls that works with me, she works in the production part, so she was just saying that they'll be going back soon. So, yeah,
we'll see what happens out here.
Well, so the economic climate there, when you go and you walk around in downtown LA or the areas that you do go in, like your malls and stuff, are people opened up or what's going on?
Yeah, I haven't been to the mall yet. My mom has been, and she says that a lot of the stores are open. It doesn't feel quite the same, she said. And I haven't gone. I've just gone to like little stores around my neighborhood. And of course the markets are always very lively. And, but I really haven't done the mall thing yet. Yeah. So it's okay. Sometimes it's okay not to. I seriously, I'm busy all the time. So it's fine. I'm doing okay.
That's the important thing, staying busy, active, keeping your mind, creating and,
Yeah.
this time. And, that's one of the things that I started doing was, this tea chat. I was like, this sounds like a lot of fun,
Well,
getting
I
to know
think it
people.
was a great idea, definitely. But I have a question about you. What made you start your tea house? I never found out from the beginning what actually made you start the actual tea house.
Well, originally I was designing clothing.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was doing that. And then when I started having my children, I wanted to stay home. So I started staying home and I started a little clothing line, a children's clothing line. And I was starting selling it at the craft fairs. And then from there, people were picking up different, like little boutiques and things were picking up my designs. And so the business grew. And then I started also, I mean, I've been like making wedding dresses for friends and, over the
Oh
years
my
and doing
goodness.
so, and then costumes for people. I did a couple of production costumes for some of the shows in Waikiki. And those were a lot of fun. So I started, that was kind of what my, I did a little, I didn't get a design degree, a fashion design degree. I did go to some classes, but another job took me away from school. I started working as a flight attendant, so that took me away from school. So I
Oh
didn't
my
finish the
goodness.
design, but I had always been sewing since I was 10 and
Right.
creating, doing things and, making my own patterns, modifying the patterns I had. So my boutique started there. I decided, I'm going to move into a little shop. And I found a little shop in downtown Honolulu and I homeschooled my kids. So I had to be in this place where the environment was homeschool friendly and I could
Right.
open when I wanted to open. And, if things were going off, we traveled, whatever, I could open and close. And I wasn't committed to mall hours. So I started doing
Right.
the boutique. Then I thought, it'd be kind of fun to offer my clients some tea and something while I was working and designing with them. So I started, I only could do like teas. I couldn't do anything else, Board of Health. And I thought it would be kind of fun to open a tea room. So I looked into the whole tea room concept. The tea shop, the space next door to me opened up. And then that's where I moved into the tea
Oh,
room.
wonderful.
So I started the tea room and that now has been 20 years. So
Unbelievable. That is amazing how things get started from one thing, just it's like a domino effect and just keep on going. And if somebody had told me that today that I'd be doing what I'm doing, I would have never, and that I would have become an animal advocate and all of this and rescue, I wouldn't have believed it. Just like, but life is, that's the beauty. It's things are unpredictable and just keep on going. And you're meeting all these interesting people and it's a wonderful experience. So
well, that's the way that life evolves. Just one door open, and you kind of just are afraid to walk through it. You go through it. Oh my gosh! And here's all these different opportunities and then new
exactly.
experiences. And and there's one thing too is that I've learned just not to be fearful to try new things and not to wait for everything to be perfect. I kind of like to make things like absolutely perfect. Okay, has to do this, and this. And then, like with this Cheat Chat series, I said, I'm just going to go with it. And then I learned how to do certain things. And I'm still learning about the whole live thing. And I'm hoping that, people do enjoy watching it and find it informative and fun and educational. And, the best part is just meeting people.
It
And
is. It's a lot of fun.
when I go into my tea shop, people come into my tea shop, I get to know them, I talk to them, and I find out all about them. And so this is kind of basically an extension of that. If you were coming to my tea shop, I would have found out everything about you before you left. So I'm doing exactly the same thing I'm doing, but now on live Zoom.
Right.
So
No, it's wonderful. This turned out to be a wonderful thing, the Zoom thing. At first, like there's always sometimes issues connecting, but once you get on and get the hang of it, my issue today was just trying to figure out where in the house I'm going to do it, as I said, because of the lighting situation. So, but I found a little nook here, so it's okay. I don't have the sun in my eyes.
well, we're coming to the end. And, I really appreciate your time and chatting with me and hope that everybody has found this to be a very fun and educational. We learned a little bit about the film industry in LA, which is, of course, where a lot of the stuff that, happens, right? All the
Right.
big films and productions come there. Your dogs and, your how passionate you are with being a dog, the activist, and your donations from your book are helping those in the shelters there. But I'm going to put this up so that people can find you and they can find the little teacup. And I want to talk to you afterwards a little bit about possibly, you can do your to-go stuff, and I'll show you some of the things that I've done too. But you can reach her on Instagram. So she has the Teacup Party 20, which is the little teacup, and like her page, follow her, ask her questions. And then the Sheltie Doll is your gardening and nature page. And Sandy, A Tale of Love is the book that you wrote about
That's right.
Sandy, the Sheltie that you had
Yes.
adopted. So, but I really thank you for joining me today, and thank everyone for that's joined us and listening to us live on Facebook, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And I just want to say a fond aloha and mahalo for watching. All right.
Aloha for having me. And
You're
it was great meeting you in person. I mean, the best next thing to being in person. So I really appreciate the time and to help me promote and to spread the word. That's so nice of you. I was really thrilled when you followed me. And I said, this woman who has like 1,000 followers is following me. Oh my God. So then I looked at your page and I said, oh my goodness, I was so thrilled. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Michelle.
I like what you're doing, and people should book some parties, the little, especially the kids that have the birthday parties and they're sitting at home and, oh my gosh, just to go, just, book
Exactly.
her purpose to go and make your child happy with some of Sandy's, the little teacup catering service. But we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Michelle. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.